Hello, prospective audience. Welcome. Sit down. We need to have a chat. Things have been getting pretty serious lately. A lot of tough love from God, war, disease, tragedy, and a lack of receipts from the FBI.
Is it true, sir, that you have what's been described as an egg-shaped penis?
Now, it may seem like there's nothing you can do, and that's because there isn't. We, the troughs of society, have no power or influence, and because of that, I don't have any insights or solutions. Besides, currently I've been dealing with my own problems. I only mention these things to spike your anxiety, so that this channel, in its attempt to cure you of this, will develop a Pavlovian response in the hope that you'll keep chasing the dragon. It's like that saying about doctors. The sicker we are, the healthier they become. Why am I doing this? Well, after years of brain rot and TikTok psyops, they have won me over. And now I'm a part of the machine. I see, I consume, and now I produce, so that you may do the same. And in the end, we are all consumed. It's the cycle of Ouroboros. And here's a lesson I've learned while being digested. When you are in the belly of a snake that has gobbled its own sphincter, crap comes from both directions. In an attempt to mitigate the smell and maintain a false sense of my own originality, this video is on a game I have never seen covered before, Serious Survivors. It's a quite simple game. You select a gun, a secondary power, and an arena. There are 4 guns, 3 powers, and 3 arenas to choose from. The objective is to survive in the arena for 20 minutes, or die trying. You collect cold hard cash to upgrade skills along the way. Skills are offered at random, meaning each game is different from the last, but frankly, not by much. The fun comes from mixing and matching gun, power, map combos, while you look for the most broken build. I use build loosely here. In reality, you'll pick the survivability option anytime it's available. Why, you may ask? Well, in addition to the satisfying crunch that happens every time I proc the cannibalism skill, I enjoy being alive. And being alive becomes difficult when hordes of enemies spawn right behind you. In these conditions, it's almost impossible to not get hit. And so, you too must learn to savor the taste of flesh.
Scrumptious.
In short, when a healing upgrade shows up, take it. Early game healing is very difficult to come by, so you'll need to make the best of it. Now is probably an appropriate time to address who exactly you'll be facing. There are 7 enemy types: green lizard, crab, blue lizard, minotaur, living barrel of explosive, rhino, Satan's little helper, and finally the blue and red demons. Hello, Hoodrat here. At one point in this script I had a point-by-point breakdown of each and every enemy in the game. And spoilers, they aren't that interesting or deep, given we live in a world where a goldfish has successfully traded on the open market. I figured I'd opt out of insulting your intelligence. Instead, I've decided to break down every character in one go using a simile. Imagine each enemy as an individual slot in a Montessori shape sorter, except in this case, the shapes at your disposal have the non-Euclidean property of being a bullet, and luckily, they fit perfectly into every single hole. This sums up every interaction you will have with every enemy except for the rhinoceros. Now, back to the old script. Lastly, there are the rhinoceros and the demon Donkey Kong. These enemies are unique in that they have mastered Source Engine movement tech and are not here to mess around. Their movement scales infinitely, meaning a space clearly unoccupied by enemies is viable for instant transmission. Luckily, enemies cannot phase through one another, so kiting a large mob is somewhat effective at limiting their mobility. I say somewhat because the rhinoceros couldn't care any less. He will blast through the crowd and land a hit on you before you can react. My only explanation for this variant behavior is that it might be a trait learned from a previous life. Perhaps its life in Pirate of Madagascar Island taught it a few things. I know it certainly taught me. It taught me that you can produce steaming piles of garbage, and genuine people will find it and return feedback, as if it wasn't an acid flip scam.
So guys, rather than, it's easy to tear apart these games. You know, he made levels, he made ways for you to progress to the next level. There is some amount of effort put into the game, so this isn't like an asset flip.
Fantastic. Now back to the rhino. This blue cuck is the only melee mob that counters the goalie cheese strat that will be discussed later on. Mechanics. For movement, you can walk, jump, and dash. For combat, you can shoot or use your special ability. Pretty straightforward. Jumping and dashing take away from your stamina bar. You do not want this to run out. When it does, your speed is significantly reduced and you cannot jump or dash for a time, meaning if you spam one or both and run out of stamina before breaching the crowd, you will take some hits. Your only defense in times like this is what you have in your hands.
12 gauge gets the job done. Watch this.
Starting out, you only have access to one gun, the double SMG. You can unlock the other 3 with the special currency you get throughout each round. As you slay massive hordes, you'll find floating dumbbells. Why dumbbells? I don't know. Perhaps it's an allusion to those sick and afflicted with gameritis. The dumbbells represent a healthy lifestyle, the only cure to the disease.
Just a little bit oiled. You can never have too much oil, can you?
The irony of this is not lost on me, where visions of the cure are obtained through symptoms of the disease. Is this really the deeper meaning behind it? I don't know, and I don't care. At church, I'm told my gamer body is a gamer temple. As you unlock each weapon, power, and map, the others of each category increase in cost. At my best, I was getting about 12 dumbbells per game, meaning there's about 5 hours of possible progressive gameplay. I clocked in 7. For weapon options, you have the twin SMGs, the pistols, the shotgun, and the grenade launcher, each equipped with an exclusive effect. The pistol and grenade launcher have the Headshot 1 and Explosive 2 effects respectively. The shotgun, creatively, has the shotgun effect, enlightening. For special abilities, there are Meteor, Third Eye, and Speedy Soda. Each of these powers offers a balance shifting ability, at the cost of prerequisites that are unique to each one. The Meteor ability requires that you be in the air they activate. On activation, you delete any little guys beneath you and deal heavy damage in a decent radius. The Third Eye insta-kills just about every enemy, but it only pierces through 5 targets, meaning if you whiff your shot by a few degrees, you barely do anything worthwhile. Speedy Soda increases your speed, fire rate, and reload. Ironically, it has the most dynamic reload mechanic, sitting still. This seems simple, but in a game that heavily encourages you to run around and not get smacked, sitting still for even a moment can be quite punishing. For maps, you have the option of 3 ancient holy sites, the pyramids, any Texas middle school football stadium, and an oriental burial site. On a side note, I failed every single geography and history class I have ever taken, so if I spread a little misinformation, it's for sure on accident. Regardless of the fact that fact-checking has never been easier. I'm just a chill guy with a chill understanding of Eastern cultures. I don't care what they've done. And I mean it both ways. In other words, I have no idea what culture this represents. Moving on. For a challenge, pick Egypt or the green one. They play about the same. The football stadium is a whole other animal. It is the only map where you can cheese the whole game. Spawn in, take a right, and head into this little box. You are now immune to 90% of what the game can throw at you. Not only can melee units not reach you, but enemy projectiles almost always hit the box or other mobs before getting to you. Given that you won't be needing to go anywhere, Speedy Drink becomes a very viable option. In fact, it becomes the best one. Sit still and watch as any gun you have becomes automatic. The best part is, it stacks. The only things that can hurt you at this point are well-placed demon shots and those dang rhinos. This means you also don't really need to worry about any of those health pickups, since after clearing the screen you could just waltz out for a moment to collect them. And you're right as rain. So instead of taking my advice from earlier, you can dedicate more levels to fire rate, reload speed, and crit chance, all of which amplify your DPS by multiples. It's important to note that this works with any weapon. Now, don't be fooled by the simplicity of the game. In one of my playthroughs, I made the mistake of combining the close-range exceptionalism of the shotgun with the ability to have enemies explode if they were killed in one shot, meaning I would chunk my own health anytime I killed something in effective range. By the time I was moments away from accidentally killing myself, I decided to take my fate into my own hands and kill myself on purpose. This is enlightenment. The story.
Commencing of probing.
There is no story in Serious Survivors, so I made one up. Wasn't it kind of weird how the title screen had various backgrounds depicting alien crafts, and yet there are no aliens in the game? Only demons and lizards. These are iconic images used to demonize social and economic elites. This is because the game is a warning. This is what happens when the shadow government chooses to shed its cloak. The elites are all that's left. There's no longer a need for them to hide. Don't you see? The UFOs weren't invading. They were leaving. Elon was right. The future is in the stars. If only each of us had taken a master's in cryptography, we might have seen all the warnings, and not needed to mass exodus our own planet. Now that it's the end of the video, I'll share with you a secret. Conform is a word that describes the compliance of a people to an ideology. But, joke's on them. If you swap the letters around, you get form come, which is exactly what we are doing today. We are forming a community of you and me. And as we grow in our power and influence, the better the chance we have of making the list, and never having to leave in the first place. As they say, if you can't beat them, then beat them off. So let's get out there and form some cum. Until next time, or until the day we are vored by Mother Earth or packaged as Soylent bars for the New World Order. Auf Wiedersehen.